Hi, everyone. So, what I'm going to be talking about are some of the things that I did for Rosa based off of Emily's academic performance yearly goals. So, some beneficial and appropriate supplemental aids and services that would benefit Rosa are the following. For her academic performance yearly goal, Rosa will be able to pay attention and complete tasks during class by using the visual aids and graphic organizers provided to her 85% of the time. The use of graphic organizers and visual aids will help Rosa to pay attention and relieve some of her struggles in class. So, some of the appropriate and supplemental aids and services that I find that are going to help Rosa become successful in the classroom are that there needs to be visuals provided for Rosa for every single lesson. From my background knowledge and from some of the readings that I've learned, is that ELL and ESL students benefit greatly from the use of visuals. Rosa will be seated in close proximity to the teacher for better attention purposes, making sure she's seated in the front of the classroom, always in close proximity to her teachers. Vocabulary will be previewed and retaught before and after the lesson to help reteach and relearn some of the vocabulary that is going to be taught and kind of just check for understanding. Rosa will also have nonverbal signals for letting her know that she needs to get back on task. So this could be as simple as like kind of like eye contact or kind of moving your hand in a certain way or making a fist, whatever kind of nonverbal signals you guys agree on. Rosa will also be able to use 3 5-minute brain break cards throughout her day, just so she's not focused on one thing for a long period of time. She needs to get up and move and be able to kind of take a break from the class. This could be in a card form where she just hands the teacher a card. She's able to take 5 minutes, come back, and ready to work. Graphic organizers are also going to be huge for Rosa to improve with completing tasks during the day. So they help break down bigger tasks into smaller chunks. For math problems, everything's going to be chunked out, broken apart, directions kind of simplified and clarified for her to help better understand the problem. And for math, manipulatives will also be given to help solve mathematical problems. The use of whiteboards, digital manipulatives, hands-on manipulatives are going to be best for Rosa. For her social and emotional yearly goals, we came up with that Rosa will be able to work effectively with a small group 90% of the time by including her in a group of students who speak the same primary language as her. So the biggest thing for us was to make sure that Rosa is interacting with her classmates and also being able to speak with students that speak her native language. So, some of the appropriate supplemental aids and services that I find helpful for Rosa are going to be that, given the opportunity twice a week, she is able to choose her own partner. This kind of gives her variety and the autonomy. So, the power of choice. And I want to kind of make a blanket statement that it has to be a different partner each week. Also, Rosa will be able to use a Spanish to English dictionary to look up specific words if need be. This can either be on her iPad or the physical dictionary. The text will also be broken down into smaller chunks to help better to help comprehend the vocabulary and the level of text. Highlighters will be provided to help indicate narrative points of view. And Rosa and her partner will be able to use Google Translate if the group is having trouble communicating with one another. For her physical development yearly goals, Rosa will be able to develop fine motor skills to help her with writing and handwriting skills. Rosa will also be able to write legibly in 8 out of 10 sentences by practicing tracing exercises. So, for some physical development supplemental aids, I find that a slant board for writing could be very useful to Rosa. This is clearly at the teacher's discretion and when she feels that Rosa would benefit from using it most. Lined paper and a pencil grip will be provided to Rosa when completing writing activities. So making sure that paper is big enough for Rosa to see and kind of put her words in the correct positions. And the general education, the ELL teacher, and the OT need to be meeting on a bi-weekly basis to discuss Rosa's progress on writing and kind of any other supplemental needs that Rosa may need to progress in her fine motor and gross motor skills. For her management yearly goals, Rosa does struggle with kind of organizational tasks. So Rosa will be able to use an agenda to write down homework assignments each night. Rosa will also have a weekly binder checks to make sure her binder is organized and the assignments are completed and turned in. So some supplemental aids and services that are going to benefit Rosa this school year would be a clear schedule that she knows that she's able to see every single day and that will be visible to her, and kind of give her 5 to 10 minutes before class starts to have her copy down assignments each day. This kind of lets her know it's a routine, it's a procedure that's going to be happening every day. Rosa will also have a checklist to make sure she has completed all of her assignments for the week. This can either be in laminated on for whiteboard purposes, or it can be a digital checklist. After she has written down her assignments in the morning, her teacher will initial to show completion to making sure that Rosa is actually copying down her correct assignments. For longer assignments that would take a very long time to write, I would feel it beneficial that Rosa can voice record her assignments for the day using her Chromebook to set a reminder or her iPad. Homework assignments will also be modified and broken down into smaller tasks to help Rosa complete them successfully. Some of the other beneficial and appropriate related services that I think Rosa will need to become successful this school year are literacy intervention services will need to be provided to Rosa 5 times a week for 40 minutes a day. So LLI reading intervention services will be provided to Rosa by the reading interventionist teacher. This can either be in small group in the reading interventionist classroom, or it can be pushed in during ELA time. Another related service that I think would benefit Rosa would be an occupational therapist. So she will be meeting with Rosa once a week for 30 minutes in small group. I think occupational therapy will help her improve her handwriting, gross, and fine motor skills. Another thing that I think Rosa would benefit greatly from are counseling services for her to become more social and kind of getting on a deeper level with Rosa for more social and emotional learning. So I'm recommending her for Lunch Bunch in a small group setting. So I think this will help improve Rosa's social skills and learn how to work and interact with her classmates more. And she'll be able to pick a different friend to come to the counselor's office each week and have lunch with a friend and talk and kind of just get to know one another and not just be in a classroom setting. Some more related services that I think will benefit Rosa will be speech services that will be provided to Rosa. And if an interpreter is needed during those speech services, one will be provided for her development. Also, ELL or ESL services will be provided to Rosa 5 times a week for 40 minutes every single day. This will either take place inside the general education classroom or the ELL, ESL classroom. It's dependent on teacher discretion and kind of when the ELL and the general education teacher meet and kind of decide a schedule and what's going to work best for both of them and in the long run for Rosa. So during this ELL time, they can work on social skills, time management strategies, vocabulary enhancement, and reading comprehension. Also, there will be a paraprofessional placed in Rosa's classroom to provide small group instruction and extra support as needed 5 times a week for 30 minutes. This will be placed during the math time since there isn't really much support during Rosa at that time. I find some adapted services that are going to benefit Rosa. The major one that I've loved and actually have used in my classroom is Read and Write for Google Chrome. So some of the benefits are that it has text to speech. It also has speech to text, so both kind of in and out. It's easy to follow with dual highlighting. You can highlight kind of any PDF, scan document, any document that you assign. The text and picture dictionaries for better understanding of words is crucial for ESL kind of development and further their understanding of deeper vocabulary. It also gives word prediction. So when Rosa's typing, it can kind of give her suggestions on what words to use. As she's reading and scanning her document, she can collect the highlights that she has highlighted on a document and it sends it to another Google Doc that can kind of help her make a constructed response or do some bigger research. Another benefit of Google Read and Write is to create and listen to voice notes directly inside Google Documents, and it simplifies and summarizes the text. For Google Read and Write, this is going to be phenomenal for Rosa to excel in a lot of her content courses. Some other adapted service equipment, special equipment for her would be the use of graphic organizers in reading, writing, and math. So it's a great visual model that will assist in breaking down ideas into smaller parts. You can be using brainstorming charts, can be used for writing, KWLs, mind maps, flow charts, beginning, middle, ends, etc. This can either be digital or pencil at the teacher's discretion. Like I've mentioned before, slant boards would be a great use to Rosa. This helps raised writing surfaces to give more leverage and to help her gross and fine motor skills. And pencil grips are going to be helpful to Rosa for easier hold onto a pencil. The last thing to help kind of Rosa stay on track this year would be using this app called Google Keep. It helps students become digitally organized. It assists with talking notes, to-do list, or doing research. So a lot of it, Rosa can just speak into her Chromebook and it literally just digitally organizes everything for her. She can add pictures and drawings to her digital notes. This can be used on her iPad to record voice with notes, and it syncs across all of her devices. So the devices that she uses home and the same at school, it can all be synced across the same thing. And kind of parents and teachers can be in contact with one another to make sure Rosa is staying on task. Is an FBA necessary for Rosa? Typically not for ELL students. FBAs are not very typical. Some of their behaviors are basically based on their language barriers or deficits. Some testing accommodations for Rosa that I find that are going to help her in the long run are preferential seating, making sure that she's in front of the teacher in close proximity to her teachers at all times, and that her ESL or bilingual teacher can help administer her test just because they may be able to speak her native language, and we may not need an interpreter for that. Definitely giving her breaks. Doing something for a long period of time is going to help make Rosa struggle. So making sure you're giving her movement breaks throughout those testing times in separate location could help for better focusing purposes. This is at the teacher's discretion and what they feel is going to help Rosa best. I would also feel if they need additional one-on-one support for extra time needed, that should be provided to Rosa as well. The directions need to be repeated in English and as in read aloud in English. You can also tape record directions provided in English or in your native language if the ESL or bilingual teacher is not available. I also believe that keywords or phrases in the directions need to be highlighted so Rosa kind of knows where to draw her attention to, and the directions need to be broken down and clarified more for Rosa's better understanding. And as I mentioned, this is just for daily testing accommodations that you would see throughout the classroom. For standardized testing accommodations, it does get a little bit different. So the test can be translated only in her native language. The directions can be explained in English or her native language, only the directions. And the directions can be read orally in her native language. Also, the test items can be read aloud only if there's questions, not if it's a reading comprehension passage. And I do know that the math standardized testing can be read aloud in her native language. Also, if possible, the question should be spaced out one question per page. So she's focused on one problem at a time and doesn't see too many problems on one page and gets very overwhelmed. As I mentioned before, directions can be translated into native language, and this can be audio taped directions provided in native language as well for her success. And if you're feeling a little adventurous, Emily has provided a Kahoot to review some of the key information about English language learners with disabilities that we have kind of learned from this assignment. I hope you all enjoyed your assignment as much as we did, and have a good night. Thank you.